welcome.
So,
So today I'm sharing my screen and
okay.
we are basically looking at updating and deleting of records. So I'm saying that in updating and deleting, these are very key things, especially deleting. It's very important. So you have to learn how to use the deleting properly. Don't just go and delete by heart. No. So we are saying that if you by mistakenly delete everything from a database, then you'll be in a serious mess. And I was giving an example of the Habib's company, the microfinance. You have a database where you keep people's debts, everything, payments, and then tomorrow Monday, Habib goes to office that you want to try the delete that you learned from here, and then you mistakenly delete all records. Your company will not know who has paid, who has paid, who is owing, who has not. So what will happen now? What would they do to
Meaning
you?
that those who are owing are lucky like that.
Those who are owing are lucky. They will say they pay. So what will happen to you now? Will you still be seated in the company? You will run here. So we need to teach you how to do such serious operations, right? That's the purpose of transactions. So with transaction, you perform the action, and then you look the results and see whether that is actually what you wanted. If that's what you wanted, then you confirm. If that's not what you want, then you reverse. Before it's just like how that's why now they develop systems. If you want to delete something, ask, are you sure you want to? Well, we know you can delete by mistake. So transactions also work that way. Recycle in database there. Database we don't have recycle bin. You need recycle bin unless you have a backup. Unless you have a backup, then that way you just restore the whole backup. If you want the option to undo, then you have to use transactions. The concept. I'll teach you. That's why I said the second objective is for you should be able to use database transactions. Transactions will give you that option. So it's two things. You can decide to say delete from pin and pan and to go. Or you can decide to use transaction approach, whereby you bring in some keywords, then you now execute the delete. Then you now preview. If that's really what you want, then you say confirm. If that's not what you want, you say no, reverse. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So I hope you are following. So beginning, updating your records. If you want to update your records in SQL, you use the update keyword. Use the what? Update keyword. So this is the syntax. You say update, table name, set, column name is equals to value. If there are more than one things you want to change, the next column name is value all the way to the end. If there's a condition, then you say where the condition is equal to blah blah blah. For example, update customers. Customers is the table name. Set address. Address is a field. Or attribute of the table. Equals to what? Then you have the value. Then here is a condition where ID is equals to 6. So only update the customer that has an ID of 6. Then we'll go and update and change his address to Chin. If the address was Tamale, it will change to what? Chin. Are you following? Otherwise, I'm in a class for you. Are you following? So similarly, when we come to delete, you can also say use the delete keyword. delete from table name where ID is equals to this. And when you do that, to go and look inside the database, customer has an ID of this, then it will delete. Then we have transactions. So let's now practice. Time to practice now. Let's update. So let's go. Share. Now I'll share my entire screen. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I cannot hear you now.
Okay, so last week I think we had a database called UDS UCM, right? Was that the case?
Yes, please.
And then the tables had a table called department, right? Department, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let me open the query tool. Now we are going to open the query tool. Right now, you should know the query tool, right? You know the query tool. So we say select if we want to query the database to read information, select everything from department. Hmm?
Yeah.
Not it. And then I'll run. And to give me all the departments, the ID of the department and the department name. Can you see it here? I just query the database, select everything from department, meaning select all the records in department table. Okay. Now, we want to update MIS. Instead of MI, I want to say BAMIS, Business Analytics and Management Information System. So your department is called BAMIS, not MIS. So let's say we did this and then the HOD said, no, that's not my department name. My department name is BAMIS. So you as the IT guy, you won't have to go back to the database and update it. Now I'm going to do that. Based on what I just said in the slide, I said that to update a record, you say update the table name. Then you say set. Then you mention the column name that you want to update equals to the value of what you want to update. Where what? The ID is equals to blah, blah, blah. So for easy, listen, I'll just copy this example. Control C. And come here and paste it. You see? So now I'm going to change the customers from customers to departments. That's the table we are changing. We are updating. So I'm changing that. Set. What are we setting? The department name. DEPT name. We are changing it from MIS to what? BAMIS. Where ID? The ID is like this. This ID column. The ID for MIS is what? 2. So I'll change this to what? 2. Hmm? And when I highlight it and run it, says what? Successful, right? Now let me query again. Let me read the current data. Yes. Hmm. So have you seen the ID of 2 is now Bamis. Not getting. I mean, you didn't store data. Yes, this is the last table. If you didn't record, you created a table, you didn't put data inside, so you won't see it. Hmm? I thought if you want to put data, you say what? Insert. Hmm? Insert. Those queries, they are in your slides. Hmm? If you open the slides like within the week, you should see it. Where is it here? It's here. Um, as for the technical courses, if you don't make time to practice it, just forget it. Hmm? You are never going to remember anything. So here, using inserting data in database. You say insert into department, blah blah blah. So if I copy this, and I come here, let me just do that on the third line. So now I say insert into department. I have department here. ID, department name. So me, I don't have employee ID or whatever. So I'm going to remove that code from here. Hmm? The values, the first value. So now I have 1, 2, 3. So it's the fourth department I'm entering. And the department name may be public administration. Then I'll run. Yeah, what's it saying? Terminated quoted string at or near. Ah, okay. So you see, my quotes, this one, they are not the same. This one is single quote, this one is like this. So I have to change it. So they all be single quotes. I'll highlight it and run it. Successful. Now, if I query the database like this, have public administration. So you didn't do this. If you do this, for every department, you have data settled. Hmm? So I can proceed, right? Okay. Yeah, so that's update for you. This one is ABCD. So now we are moving to delete. So let's say we want to delete public administration. At all, want to delete it. So we say delete. Let's see the query. Delete from. So delete from department, correct. It doesn't matter whether I type capital or small. Spelling should be right. Delete from department. Where ID is 4. We are picking ID column because ID has unique values. Okay. So there's no way two things can have the same for the same ID. That's why we are using the ID. Where ID is equals to what? 4. So if I run this, if it says successful, then let me query again to read what is there. I have only 3. All conversation is gone. query twice, like this. I queried this and I came and queried this. Yeah, this is to delete. After I delete, I want to know what I have. So I have to select so that it will bring me the current data. I'm not querying twice to delete. Oh. I'm using one query to delete and viewing. Just like I'm clicking. But in this case, I'm not clicking. We are just writing query. We are talking in computer language. Hmm? Hmm. That's what we are doing. So if you do this, you can do everything in database. Yes. It's not with transactions. But let me wait for you to consume this space. But I'll, I'll leave you confused for the rest of the day. Yeah, so today these are just the queries we did. Try to understand what each and every one of them means. Then you are good. Yes. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, so you have two databases, one and then two, right? Right. So this is the database you are using. So you right click and say query to. So from query to see what we are doing. So you have let me see under your database, let me see your tables. Schema, go to tables. You don't have any table. It's not table. We have to run the query that creates table. Huh, which is in the slide. So let me show you something. If I go to slide one, this one, yeah, which by this one, yes, some trust. So this here, I say, there, good, creating table department, example one, create table department, ID, blah, blah, blah. So you just copy this. Or you type, there you have the slide. So, but let me, to make it fast for you, let me type it for you to some. So I'll say create table. The name of the table is department. Bracket open, then ID, print. Not now, it's gonna be empty. Comma, and I go to the next department name, meaning this department name only bears characters of 50, cannot be empty. Then I didn't use employee ID, so you leave that out. Hmm? And then fine, when you highlight any query, you highlight and run. So what is it saying? It's saying car. And there's issue with my car. Yes, so for the syntax. You only have the brackets, not the whole thing. Hmm. So once I do this, highlight it's successful. Good. Now, if it's successful, I want to see what data is there. I'll say select everything. Select means everything from the name of the table, which is the bar, highlight. Every query you highlight and you will run. When you run, have you seen the ID, department name is there? Hmm? Then now you now look at how to insert the data, which is also here. If I go to my slide, where I say insert data, these are look at the headings. You see inserting data in database. After all the nonsense I've said, this is the example. Insert into department ID. That's why I provide examples so that you are able to what? Use it to follow. So I will say insert into, and department represents your table name. Department. Hmm? Then I will say bracket open. ID. So the ID is maybe one. That's the first department you are entering. So you say one. Then comma, department name, maybe HR. We only have two columns or two attributes. So this is for the one, and this is for the department name. So if I highlight my one, it says what? Insert into department. One, syntax error on near this. So this one probably has to be in this one. Sorry. I'm not following the example. Insert into department. ID. I have to explicitly mention the columns I'm talking about. What I think the values. ID, then then now I will say values. We are very matching. We say, okay, ID this, the values are this and this. One, comma, on HR. Yeah, the two represents another column, which we don't have. We have only two columns, ID and department name. And in the example, I've added employee ID, but we are not using that one. Continue with what? If you are querying, which query are you doing? Are you doing a set query or what query are you talking about? Set, yes. So ID and department name. So I'll provide the values. One and then what? HR. So HR is the department name. The one is the ID. Hmm? If I had three, another comma and another column, then I have to provide a value, but I don't have. The arrangement we call respectful. So if ID comes first, then in the values you have to start with the ID. Yes. No, the department is not two. The department name is the department name, which is HR. Or okay, it can be account, yes, or it can be BAMIS. Hmm? The two no represents employee ID, but I don't have it in my database, so I'm not adding the one you want. Yes, so run it. Successful. So now, if you use this select query is to be. So then you proceed with what we did today, updating and online people. Any question from your end?
I don't think so.
Okay, so on this note, we would end the class here.
Okay, sir.
But